7:26, so that it, and I'll watch the clock when Ms. Pride starts speaking, and then 30 minutes later we'll stop the non-agenda speakers. Edith Pride, would you please come up to the podium, and after that, Tippy Breakwell, and after that, Jennifer Reed.
Can I take mine off? Everybody else took theirs off. My mask, Frank Barbieri, may I take my mask off, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, because everybody took theirs off, and I want mine off, because it'll fog up my glasses. Okay. So, Dr. Robinson, my name is Edith Pride, Boca Raton Elementary. I listened to you, and you know, gone girl, you was good. But I'm going to do what you said. So, y'all know I have my pages all typed up big to read. And I won't read the first 4 pages, but I will, because I can do it in my 3 minutes. But I'm going to start on my last 2 pages. Dr. Fenoy, you know, I haven't had a problem with you because I'll tell it to you in this meeting or in front of your face. However, yesterday I heard that message, and I was mad. I heard it, and I had had enough. You took this job as superintendent of a major county. That means all fiascos stop with you. Sometimes you and your people, but at all times with you, period. How dare you bark at teachers like we are wild, crazy children raised in woods by wolves. Teachers, this teacher did not tell any principal to change their master schedule. And principals have always run their schools. But no school can run without a teacher. And we wish you had confidence in us, because you didn't say that yesterday. You were just on a roll. Teachers have never lost sight of their students along any way. That's the district. Let us not confuse the two. Your tone was harsh, snappy, and some of the things that you said anger myself and other teachers. I am requesting, Dr. Fenoy, that you take that same tone and that snappiness and send a message to the parents. These are some of the suggestions, statements, and directions you can feel free to use to give the parents of virtual students. Number 1, please, parents, wake your children up early enough to feed them and get them dressed for school. Also, make sure your child has the book, pencil, and paper when they sit in front of the computers. No laying down in the bed. Number 2, parents, please make sure that you have on proper clothing when you're walking in front or behind the child's computer, because we done seen them in their drawers, the bra, and everything else. All right, remember, all children are on the computers and can hear your conversations. So please try to use proper language. No cussing, because if I say just no profanity, they may not know what profanity is. So no cussing, they know what that is. Number 4, parents, when you're helping your children at the computer, please do not appear with big joints in your hands and cigarettes. The joint be big as a cigar. Oh yes, we done seen it all. Please have that in your hand and in your mouth. Number 5, parents, please understand that your child is in class, and the parents should not stay in the picture and make silly face behind the child's face. Just the parent. Why you trying to teach in your class? That's what you need to tell these parents what to do. Remember, all children are on the computer and they can, wait. Parents, please understand your child is in class, and parents should not to stay out the picture. Wait, let me finish my last one, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. Parents, let your children know that make sure the children return to the class after fine arts and lunch, because they don't come back. And then, so how do you count that? Is that a whole day of present after what? Parents, the school day starts at 8 o'clock and it ends at 2. Not 8:15, not 9:30, not 10 o'clock while the child is in his pajamas and then he's trying to eat cereal and can't pay attention. Also, make sure the children have on underclothes, because we've had them show up. The little girls got their nightgowns on, put their knees in the chair, no panties, and the boys just walk around in panties. Please make them, these are the things you need to tell them, and put some clothes on. Remember, teachers, y'all can't pay us what we have earned. What? No, wait, it's been so long since I said it, but wait, give me a minute. Pay teachers what we have earned. because y'all can't pay us what we are worth. Remember that when it's time to get the money right, okay? Okay? You heard what I said? But now, one day it's going to come when we can talk about the rest of this, all right, Dr. Roberts? Okay?
Thank you, Edith. You're always a breath of fresh air. Tippy Breakwell, Jennifer Reed. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Tippy Breakwell. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, try again.
My name's Tippy Breakwell. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, superintendent, and all others in attendance. I come before you tonight as an alumni, a parent of a current student, and a member of our community. First, I want to thank you all for all that you're doing at this crazy, crazy time. But COVID is not our only crisis. I came to speak to you tonight to urge you to mandate early and immediate ESOL instruction for all speakers of Ebonics in the school district of Palm Beach County. I understand the sensitivity and controversy surrounding this terminology and ideology, but to continue that focus is to perpetuate a lack of intervention critical for education achievement. I was informed on the subject of the language of Ebonics, defined for me as a viable language used by intelligent people for the same cultural reasons as any other, when I attended Dr. Robinson's reading committee meetings for Black student achievement. I was also exposed to the data on our Black boys and girls. I will never be the same. I don't think I have to inform you all that it very obviously shows that we are utterly failing this demographic, or that this failure leads to further disparities in our shared culture and other systems. To continue to deny our Black American students need for the same language training provided to all other students who are speakers of other languages is to continue to deny them anything that resembles equity in our educational system. The ESOL instruction is already effectively in place in 100% of our school sites, and inclusion could be swift. Thank you all for your immediate attention to this very pressing matter.
Thank you, ma'am. Jennifer Reed. Charmaine Postal.
Shameless plug before I get started. With everything that is going on, I understand the district has not been able to focus on urging parents to complete the 2020 census. However, it's important for me to make mention of it as time is running out, 16 days left. Census completion is critical. The success of our schools depend on resources. The adequacy of resources depend on funds awarded. The funds awarded depends on our census count. Complete your census today. 2020census.gov or call 844-330-2020. Good evening, School Board Chair, Dr. Fenoy, Superman and Superwoman, and everyone in your respective places. Charmaine Postal, speaking as a parent and a product of the School District of Palm Beach County. Indulge me for a few, but first, Dr. Robinson, you are correct. We all share the blame. Schools were overcrowded before the pandemic. Schools needed updated technology, had attendance issues, children needed one-on-one, bus driver assistance, and cafeteria assistance before the pandemic. The lower 5% and top 5% was getting most of the attention, and grabbing the students in the middle was an issue before the pandemic. Funding education, parents' engagement, involvement, and volunteerism tremendously declined before the pandemic. Teachers had legitimate concerns. Student safety has been an issue. Politics played a big role in Palm Beach County education. Disparities existed in the schools. Equity is and have been an issue long before the pandemic. Communication has been an issue before the pandemic. Pointing fingers and blaming others was an issue well before the pandemic. I stand here and against the CTA recommendation to terminate Dr. Fenoy. Working together to find a common goal has always been an issue before the pandemic. How many letters have been sent to DeVos, Cochran, DeSantis, way before the pandemic? How is terminating a superintendent in the middle of a pandemic 2 days before school is to get started the answer? There's gotta be a better way. School board leaders, you were elected. Dr. Fenoy appointed. And each of you accepted the responsibility to serve every child and every community in this district. Be very cautious of those pointing fingers and further dividing the district when unity is what we need more than ever. We are where we are, and the only way we can move forward from here is being unified. As a frustrated parent, I will take moving forward with the mission. The School District of Palm Beach County is committed to providing a world-class education with excellence and equity to empower each student to reach his or her highest potential with the most effective staff to foster the knowledge, skills, and ethics required for responsible citizenship and productive careers. School board members, who am I and all the previous speakers to call an action or demand something of you? We are each one person with one opinion. Let me remind you, you can't make everyone happy, but you have to follow the mission. And Dr. Fenoy and board members, remember, the district is not equitable enough to please everybody's demand and complaints. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Jennifer Reed here? How about David Ray?
Good evening, members of the board. I appreciate you guys, and I want to begin by saying my name is David Ray. Everybody calls me D, so I'd love you guys to do the same. I love everything I've been hearing tonight about the concern for students, and I'm here to echo just something that I've been hearing from some parents because I've been working in some food drives locally and around the county. Specifically, I'm here on behalf of some parents that I spoke to in District 6 at Rosenwald Elementary. But as I dive into this issue, I find that this is an issue in all of the Glade schools. Sugarcane burning is a perfect example of environmental racism. And as we start looking at the things that affect our community, especially the Black community, we should start looking at some of the things like this. Rosenwald was designed to keep students inside longer periods of the day so the burns could go on in the field. There's no doubt in the science, especially after what Harvard just released in their recent studies, that fine particulate matter, which is a byproduct of said burning, is a problem for young lungs and old ones. This exasperates what you experience with COVID and exposes you to a higher death rate. That being said, this is a liability for the school board, and I think everybody with a heart should care about this. Teachers have quit and students have been hospitalized. It's hard to find good it's hard to find good teachers, which we all already know, but even more so, it's hard to build that trust with parents after their children have been in the hospital because of negligence on the part of the board. So, following the CDC guidelines of advising that no burns go on, especially during the times of COVID, I am asking the board, as you go into this COVID talk and you relate to all these people on the health advisory boards, look into the effect of this. Put some pressure on Nikki Fried, which is the commissioner in charge of this, and U.S. Sugar. You all are leasing land to them. And so how it relates to you, in my understanding, because I looked at the lease and the best I could, I tried to get what I could for you, but I quote that U.S. Sugar shall not commit any hazardous acts on the property nor use property in any manner that will increase the school board's exposure to liability. At the request of the school board, U.S. Sugar shall, at its own cost and expense, comply with any and all requirements of the school board's risk management department. Now, you all do not have responsibility or ties with all the burning that goes on, but there are more and more green harvesting programs right now in the Glades than ever before. If Walmart had enough teeth in Clewiston to make sure that there were no burns that were going to affect their store's revenue, the school board has enough teeth and support to make sure the same thing happens for their students. Now, I know that the lease might not be up for another couple of years, but the $12,000 that you all get from them, I think is enough of incentive to say, hey, you're putting us at risk. Because should a student die, and should that parent get the support they need, not only will they sue U.S. Sugar, but they can sue you guys. Now, that's not a threat. I'm just saying it's something that I see as a possibility of bringing more equity to the black communities in District 6. We have to put some pressure in stopping that, because as we move into this post-COVID world, that is something that we should take into account. The burns got to stop. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. I'm not sure the last name here, but I think his name is Robbie Littles. Are you here? If not, Michael Cleveland, possibly. I can't read the last name either. Mr. Little's here?
Robbie Littles, representing the bridge builders of Palm Beach County. Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, Dr. Fenoy, and staff. I am here to speak against any and all efforts to remove Dr. Fenoy from the superintendent's position. Clearly, these are critical times, requiring clear, analytical, and critical thinking before taking any action toward firing Dr. Fenoy. Hopefully, Dr. Fenoy shall quickly correct the administrative breakdown or factors causing parents, students, teachers, and staff to suffer severe consternation. Simultaneously, I hope the board shall use this time to familiarize or re-familiarize yourselves with the legal parameters you are to operate within, specifically as it relates to how the superintendent assigns and reassigns personnel from the top to the bottom. We think he knows better than each of you individually and all of you collectively who can best make things happen in this school district and get things done. The courts have told this school board before that the superintendent makes operational decisions in Palm Beach County, not the school board. Remember Dr. Joseph Carroll, who decided who he would appoint as a principal, and the board thought they rebuffed him twice, and he took the school board to court, and the court said, you hire the superintendent, and from that day on, every employee in the district works for the superintendent, not you. Please be advised. Someone early on mentioned teachers needing better pay. I concur. And I would ask that each of you critically, analytically, think about and have the courage to step forth and say and demand that in Palm Beach County, the starting salary as quickly as possible for all teachers be $65,000 per year, and that all veteran long-term teachers get adjustments as appropriate. That's what critical analytical thinking can produce for this school district. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Littles. Michael Cleveland, are you here? Sir, please state your name for the record in case I mispronounced it.
Good evening, Michael Cleveland,
Okay, I did it
West
right.
Palm Beach. I too am a member of Bridge Builders, but I also am a native of West Palm. I have some very important thoughts on these proceedings as it relates to the dismissal of our superintendent, Dr. Benoit. Clearly, mistakes are made all the time. There's nobody perfect. These high-level positions are positions that no one can just jump into and make critical decisions instantly without some type of criticism. Clearly, no one has a clear plan on anything about children, teachers, and staff in the schools. I am really surprised that the district even opened the school as soon as they planned to. Personally, I thought you would wait until the first of the year. After all, COVID is alive. Make no mistake about it. You've been all told it's a life and death situation. It's surprisingly, instead of being here speaking of education and educating our kids, we're here speaking of life and death in the schools that will affect the teachers and the kids. Why do they want to go open the schools so early? Pressure. We all seem to be under that political pressure and don't think on our own about things that are necessary for ourselves and the community. It's a game of Russian roulette, if you will. We take a chance. If something happens, who takes the blame? There's a fall guy on everything. Somebody has to take the blame. Unfortunately, these blames are considered life. The healthcare people were here earlier and they spoke of the virus, and it's not going anywhere. Believe that. It's not going anywhere. The man is doing the best he can, I believe. I understand he can do better. We all can do better. We all should do better. One day, hopefully, that day will come. The kids can return back to school safely. Dr. Benoit has come up with the plan you expect them to. But I also thought that, and I'm sure you don't agree with this, but as a governing body, you should have got together with the superintendent in a meeting. Give your suggestions and thoughts together so when you came before this body, there would be no question of what is needed and necessary for the safety and well-being of the students and the teachers in our schools. I thank you.
Thank you. Kavon, would you play the first 4 recorded messages from our non-agenda speakers? And before you start that, I just want to thank Mary Luz Victorious, Maria Rodriguez, and Ermin Jacquet. These are the 3 ladies who have been cleaning our podiums all night, so thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Yes, good evening, school board member and superintendent. My name is Carl Muhammad. I'm a non-agenda speaker, and I'm calling as it relates to the idea of the covert pandemic, but I wanted to refresh those inside of the school district as it relates to the pandemic and the epidemic that's been going on constantly in the African-American community. I know that we've matured at some level to the idea of looking at the word equity, and it still doesn't seem that we have that ability in order to do such. You know, when a person has no knowledge of themselves, then they can't value his or her self with the education that we've been rendered. I mean, dealing with the system that has produced generations of miseducated black people here in Palm Beach County, as we continue as a community to try to get our footsteps in the sands of time, we're still asking those of you who have the responsibility to assist us if you would consider in doing so. Now, my community really appreciate the $100 to $200 donations that we've been receiving over the years, but we know as an educated group of people that there are some real resources that are needed. None of this 100 and 200, there are thousands and millions of dollars that need to be invested, like was invested in order to give us the formal education that we have that don't render us with kind of any ability to assist ourselves. We're trying to set up libraries in our homes, but we have to have these libraries set up by those inside of our community that have the knowledge of what actually is needed inside of our community. I just wanted to drop a few things that I've personally been a part of. I'm one of the original board members of the Coalition for Black Student Achievement. I'm one of the people that were on the original Achievement Matters for All writing team, part of the Superintendent Task Force, former chairperson and director of Black Youth Enrichment Association, and the former mayor of West Palm Beach African and African American Advisory Board, and the former education chairperson for the NAACP. And I wanted to say that I've never, as of yet, in the past 20, 25 years, seen anyone that come with a real substantive investment to assist us in any kind of meaningful way. And I'm asking at this very critical time, as we continue to try to reconstruct some of the educational experiences for children, I'm asking you to take another look and utilize the thought process that many of you have had training in, and to really realize the fact that we need some real resources to do some things in our community on our own. Thank you for your time, and should it be
This is in regards to the special meeting, multiple agenda item numbers. Good afternoon. My name is Amy McCarroll. I have 3 children, 2 of which are in the public school system. My oldest is gifted in all advanced classes in 6th grade, and my middle child, who is also gifted but has a processing disorder, that this child causes this child to have an IEP. With my background stated, I wanted to address some major concerns I have. I would first like to know when my choice has to be made. Since the email says Tuesday, September 9th, Tuesday is the 8th, and Wednesday is the 9th. Second, how am I or anyone else supposed to make this decision as we and the schools don't even know what or how they will go back? The document sent, as I understand, will have policies you set, but each school principal has to make the plan, and until I see this plan, I cannot and will not choose. Third, I have excuse me, I have no problem with my children wearing a mask and to and from class or walking around on campus. However, I have a huge problem with them breathing carbon dioxide for 8+ hours, which could severely alter their brain, as my father died from this very issue, not getting enough oxygen and breathing in his own carbon. I would like you to please consider them taking off masks while seated in class. Another issue with the mask is my middle child is a chewer, meaning he chews his shirt, blankets, anything really. It's a nervous tick. So what am I and his teachers to do with the mask that will inevitably get wet and gross with the spit? That's not very sanitary or healthy for anyone. Now on to my 4th and final concern. I'm under the impression that kids will have to be using Chromebooks in class, exactly the same as they are at home. First, my child will not be bringing their personal Chromebooks to school, and I will not be taking possession of a school-issued one to come home. So will they be provided at the school to stay at school? Second, my middle child is having the hardest time moving between tabs, even though the teacher is amazing. This child cannot do it on the processing delays is hindering this child learning this way. And if this is how class will be, might as well pull the child now and do 3rd grade again next year. This child spends more time trying to figure out where to be than learning. I look forward to hearing the responses from each of you, as I will be sending this in email form to the entire board as well. Thank you.
Hello, I am Sheila Calderon, Green Acres, Florida, and I am calling concerning a non-agenda item, and that is concerning the school board's hopefully influence on the sugar industry to stop the sugar burning. It is with deep concern that I'm writing to you today, or speaking to you today, concerning the toxic pollution from sugar cane burning that is inflicted on the children in the Glades area and beyond. The sugar burning season will soon begin and last up to 6 months and more. I visited the neighborhoods in the area over a year ago and was absolutely appalled that there was sugar burned right up to the school fences. I spoke with residents and heard how their family's health was being affected, many with asthma, cancer, and other lung diseases. I am truly appalled that the school district board has not taken action to stop this pollution affecting so many of the children attending school there. There's a report called Grist's report about the sugarcane. I suggested in my letter that I wrote to you as well to make it clear that to read that. It makes it clear that the school district is content to put their financial relationship with the sugar industry ahead of the health and welfare of the students and staff. Very sad. It's beyond my comprehension that you can approve schools being reopened under these conditions, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic that we are all suffering through. It is time that steps are taken to force the industry to go to green harvesting. The incentives that the industry is getting must be withheld until such time and the industry leaders stop this pollution. I believe the school board can put the pressure on our legislators to take these steps so that they choose to make a difference. I'm concerned about the school district possibly having a financial relationship with the sugar industry and putting that ahead of the health and welfare of the students and staff. Are any of you willing to put your children in schools where their well-being are put at risk? I'm asking that you take whatever steps necessary to protect the children and families at this time of the pandemic and climate change that are exposed to this pollution for more than half the year. And I thank you for your attention and look forward to your support of my concerns. Thank you.
Hello, I have a non-agenda item. My name is Ida Perry Foster. I am an RN with over 30 years of practice in labor and delivery and newborn intensive care. I have a comment I would like to make. Our prenatal mothers receive special vitamins and procedures to provide the best possible outcomes for our babies. The health of toddlers and preschool children is also prescribed with vaccines and best practice pediatric care. It is understood, therefore, that the Palm Beach schools would continue to monitor the health of school children and intervene in the case of a significant danger to the health and well-being of these school children in Palm Beach schools. I was beyond shocked to attend a community meeting in Belgrade and observe the toxic smoke and black ash near the schools. After talking to the mothers in this area, I was made to understand there is a high rate of asthma with the children in the community, which continues into adulthood. What is at stake is the very health of an entire community that is helpless in the face of inaction from those in position of authority, such as the Palm Beach County School Board. What is the purpose of the school board if not to protect the children from the suffocating pollution caused by the harvest? What is very puzzling to me is that there is another widely practiced method of sugarcane harvesting that completely eliminates burning that is not being used. Therefore, the harvesting season using this method would not bring about the poisoning of residents in and around the Everglades agricultural area. Let us end this widespread danger to this community that has truly suffered for too long. It starts with the school board speaking up and ends with modern methods of harvesting that are better for the community, the schools, the school staff, the growers, and the environment. Thank you.
Board members, that was the half an hour of the non-agenda speakers, and pursuant to policy 1.03, we'll take the rest of them after we finish the agenda. So that takes us to the agenda.